What's up, YouTube? Just left the casino. Gonna do this a little bit old school style. Start off in the car, and then we do have live footage from the table, so we'll get into that shortly. Trying to get these videos out. I think I have 10 days to put out 6 videos. Otherwise, I'm gonna be eating that spicy chip. I've been watching some YouTube videos on it recently. It's not looking good. I've heard some people throw up. Yeah, so if I can try my best and get out a video like every other day going forward and not have to eat that chip this month, hopefully push it off to next month with a new challenge, that's going to be the plan. All right, anyway, so try to squeeze in a session once again quickly before having to head to Costco again. You know, it's near the casino, so do some errands. Anyway, so we jump into the casino, and there's a reg that I'm familiar with, so I go to talk to him while I'm waiting, and ends up that I'm actually first up for this game. And so while I'm watching this game, I see it's pretty wild. He tells me that it's wild. There's some action, and I can immediately see there's some dark raising, dark re-raising, getting it all in pre-flop dark. So obviously I do want to get in this game. Thankfully, somebody leaves it relatively shortly, and I think they probably left just because they didn't like the style of this game. Obviously, games where people are like raising to 100 or just jamming all 1,000 all in dark are oftentimes scary. A lot of times people just want to play poker, you know, and so obviously as a pro, these are kind of the perfect situations where you do want to play in these games, but sometimes it can scare off the recreational players if people are quote-unquote gambling too much. Anyway, so finally get a seat in the game, and I'm actually 2 to the left of a couple of the action players, which is, you know, obviously kind of the god seat in the game. Right off the bat, I could see that there's kind of a couple of dark raises. The guy who has been dark raising and jamming finally like doubles up and then picks up aces and stacks somebody. So now I think he's got like 2K or something like that. So it seems like he's slowing down a little bit. There is in this hand 3-5. There is a straddle to 10 and a dark raise to 20. I'm to the immediate left of the 20, and I look down at ace queen offsuit. Obviously a pretty standard open for me. I make it 60, and now it folds to the guy who's been pretty wild, but he's also, you know, he just showed down aces to double up. He also had just turned a straight to stack somebody. And so I feel like at this point, now that he has 2K, he's no longer doing the crazy things that he has been doing. So when he makes it 220, I kind of hate the spot. I first sat down with 500 just to kind of feel out the table. I've now added on, so I'm 1,000 deep, and I think it's a pretty standard call, but just the situation screams to me that he's got a big hand. I don't know what it is. I don't think he's getting out of line. I think me raising under the gun is a big hand. It's not like I'm raising the cutoff. And so I think he's got a good hand. And exploitatively, I just decided to find a fold. Afterwards, I show the queen, and I'm like, oh, I folded pocket queens. I'm like, nice bluff, man. And he had been showing his cards a lot. Like, if he was raising dark or jamming dark, he was showing like he had deuce 3, ace something. Like, he was just, you know, re-raising a lot. And so he's like, really, you had queens? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm like, you had it. He's like, good fold. He's like, yeah, good fold. And then anyway, a little bit later, I think he said he had ace king, which I believe. I told him I had ace queen. And so I, you know, because he didn't show, I think he actually had a good hand. It just felt like he was like, oh, I had it that time. So I believe him. It's just something about that situation just kind of felt a little eerie. The fact that he had just won a bunch of big pots, was sitting on 2K, just led me to believe he's not just going to continuously get out of line. And I think he made some comment about how, like, you know, serious poker, now that Charles is at the table, like that, you know, there's like a reg in the game. So, you know, he's a great guy. Loves to have fun. And so it's awesome, obviously, when people are having a good time. There's a couple of guys to my right as well who are just, you know, gambling. There are a couple of nits in the game who are just trying to, like, you know, find perfect spots. One of them ended up folding ace queen pre-flop, would have like tripled up, and then later on stacks off when the guy going all in a lot has aces. So it's kind of funny that he decides he doesn't want to gamble, and people make fun of him, and then he gambles and gets stacked. Anyway, so finally we get into this hand that I've recorded. In this situation, the guy that had the 2K, I think now he's lost a little bit of it back. He's saying how he's going to be leaving shortly. So he ends up making it 110, I think, either out of his big blind or out of like the straddle. I think he just straddles to 110 dark. Player to my right folds. I look down at pocket sevens. Obviously going to be a standard open for me. I'm not just going to be flatting letting other people. I'm trying to isolate this random dark hand. I make it 300. I think if somebody behind me ships it in for 1,000, I'm just going to be folding. And against this guy who's, you know, been crazy action, you know, I'm willing to get in the 2 sevens. Obviously he's going to have any 2 cards. Sometimes he's going to have 1 over. Sometimes he's going to have 2 overs, you know, whatever it is. So it folds to him. He looks at how much I have left. Sees that it's 600. So I think at this point, it's obviously he's pretty wide in his call. He ends up calling. I've got, I think, like 580 back, as I have lost a little bit up until this point. And so we go heads up to a flop, which comes 8, 9, 10. Obviously not the best flop in the world, as there are 3 overs, but also a good flop in that I've flopped a lot of equity. I think he ended up checking dark. And so obviously this is a situation where I'm just never folding. I'm going to be getting it in. So the question is like sizing. What should you be doing? Pot's already like a little over 600. I've got a little under 600. Obviously I could just jam it in there, hope to get him to fold some of his, hands that have equity. Like let's say if he just has king high, and if I bet small, he might call it off. Similarly though, I don't want to just like bet $100, have him jam like king high, thinking it's a scary board, and now I have to like gamble it off. So I end up deciding on 400. Maybe I should just go like half pot. Obviously, I pretty much want to tell him that I'm going to be going all in. The dealer throws the all in chip to me, and he instantly calls. I'm like, well, I bet 400. And so I tell him, I'm like, well, if you want to jam, like that's fine. So he jams it all in. I call it off, obviously. And he shows the jack, which I believe, it's very likely that he probably just says like Jack X, maybe Jack, Ace Jack, King Jack, maybe Jack 4 suited. Who knows exactly? Obviously, he could have a hand like Jack 10, Jack 9, Jack 8, and have me just utterly dead. Anyway, the turn, I believe, is a 10 pairing the board. It's either 10 or a 9, something like that. And then the river is a king. Actually, I might have that backwards. I think it might have been the turn is a king, and then the river is a 10 pairing the board. And so he's already shown that he has a jack, and he's like, you're good, you win. And so I table my 7s, and we scoop this like $1,800 pot. Obviously, very lucky for us to hold here against the jack. We have kind of the perfect hand against the jack straight draw, as we do block 2 of his outs to make the straight. So pretty favorable situation. Awesome that this guy is gambling, and we get in this kind of like flip situation. And then shortly thereafter, he ends up quitting. A couple of other guys quit. We get to 4-handed. And I do have to head to Costco. So that was pretty much the one major hand of note that I did play while I was there. Nothing else really happened. I was just folding a lot, getting, dealt nothing in particular that I could even play. And so we ended up winning $799. So a quick session altogether. And hopefully we'll be able to come in again tomorrow. Charlie has started kindergarten officially, and now ends his day pretty early, whereas he used to get out at 5. Now he gets out at like 1, so it doesn't give me too much time during the day, as I do have to go get him. So we'll see if we can continue to squeeze out some quick sessions, put out some more videos. Thanks for watching. Please comment down below, as I've mentioned before. Please subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you can get future updates. There is an option to get all videos, and help your boy out trying to put out that content. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.